Hi, next one. Says inter-employee. Next to inter-employee, would you please write Mrs. Joe? Now, I'm going to set up some situations here. Jimmy, you're the plant manager of this plant. And you guys do a bunch of things, but one of the things you do is the most critical operation in the plant. It's kind of a sophisticated machining process. And Joe, your #1 machinist, is probably the best guy you've ever had in that job. When you need it out yesterday, you bring it to Joe and he almost makes the deadline. Joe has never made anything that came back because of bad quality. When you get specs and are impossible, you give them to Joe, he somehow makes the machine do it. So when you go to bed at night, you say, God bless Mom, Dad, the kids, the dog, and Joe, okay? Now, Joe works for Tim here. And Tim, you do the same prayer. Joe's just a neat guy, all right? Now, Susan, you run another department in the plant, and the truth of the matter is it's a crummy department. You got a lousy job. But you happen to have the most people working for you. What it is, it's an assembly operation of all these component parts that these guys manufacture in a final assembly, but it's pure dumb work. And the way you pay your people, you don't even pay them by the hour. You pay them total piecework assembly. They put their little tag on. At the end of the day, everybody counts the tags and whoever. Now, you've got some people, a core of about 10 or 12 people who work for you forever. You know, they just... And this is an elastic group. When you get real busy, you call in part-timers, old people, whatever, and you don't care that they're slow. Just as long as they do it right. And it's not too complicated a job. One day, Joe walks up to his foreman, Tim, says, "Hey, boss, I'll probably be leaving soon." "What do you mean, leaving?" "I'll be quitting." Tim says, "Quitting?" He said, "Well, my kids are all now in school. My wife wants to work outside of the home, and we only have one car, so wherever she gets a job, I'm going to get a job there too, so we can go to work in one car." So Tim, he said, "Don't do anything, Joe. You go to Jim. You tell Jim the problem." Jim said, "I'll take care of it." Tim stopped by Susan's office and said, "Susan, there'll be a Mrs. Joe coming by filling out an application. If she can see lightning and hear thunder, hire her." Okay? And tells you a little bit why. Mrs. Joe's, it's Mrs. Joe, and we don't want to lose Joe, and one car. So you say, "Oh, you always need people, so what the hell?" So Mrs. Joe comes by, and she fills out an application, and you're impressed. You know where it says county? She doesn't write USA. I mean, that's pretty good. You give her the rule test, and she actually knows the difference between halves and sixteenths. I mean, this is a very unusual applicant as far as you can, an intelligent woman. And she's kind of nice looking, and she's going to be a good, and she comes to work on time. Like I say, you put her on the line. And you're doing your paperwork one day, and you look up, and all of a sudden there's a big crowd around out there. And you don't run any machines, so you're sure nobody got their hand cut off, but maybe somebody fainted. So you run out there only to find that Mrs. Joe and Maria, who's been with you for 11 years, your #1 worker, are rolling around on the concrete fighting. I mean, there's blood. You don't know where it's coming from, but there's cuts here. And this is serious. They're pulling hair, screaming, everybody's going, "Get her, Maria," you know, that kind of stuff. So what do you do?
Break it up.
Okay. Now what?
Bring them into your office.
Separately.
And try to find out what the reason is that they're fighting.
Okay, so you're going to look for cause. Who are you going to talk to first? Maria, your old trusted employee, or this Mrs. Joe, the new lady?
Probably the old trusted employee.
You're going to talk to her. I'll get her for you, okay? Hi, boss.
So what happened out there?
I don't know. I was sitting there doing my work, and all of a sudden pulled my hair backwards on the floor and tore my lip and screaming at me, and I thought she was going to kill me.
Why would she kill you? Why would she try to kill you?
Why would she do that? I think she's nuts.
You ever had a problem with her before?
Yeah.
No. Mrs. Maria?
Yeah, as Maria.
11 years. For 11 years I come through. I got 9 kids.
What I'm saying is, is this the first time you and Mrs. Joe have had any?
Mrs. Joe just started yesterday.
Oh, so we're talking like immediate. Whoa.
So describe what happened. You were.
I already did. I was sitting doing my work. You know, I do my work. I got 9 kids. I need the money. And all of a sudden, she pulled me backwards off my bench and jumped on my forehead.
Why do you think she would do something like that?
I already told you, I think she's crazy. I mean, I don't hurt anybody.
You didn't speak any words to her?
You're the only one I speak English to. They all think I don't know English. I'm Spanish.
I said kind of calling Mrs. Joe.
I'll get her for you. What do you want?
So what happened out there?
You know what happened. Beat that bitch up.
Why would you do something like that?
The reason I came to work here is I know what's going on. She's after my husband. I saw her in the line at the lunchroom sticking her tits in his back. I'm not going to put up with that stuff. She stays away from my husband or she's a dead spick.
Whoa.
Okay, stop. She got a problem? She had lots of problems, not the least of which is she can't do what you suggested she do. She can't get to the cause. See, this was caused someplace else. Plant manager made a bad decision, maybe. You know, maybe she should have bought them another car. I don't know. That's another problem. But the real point is, look at her options. If she separates them, Mrs. Joe's going to pick on somebody else because she's nuts. If she fires Mrs. Joe, we're going to lose Joe. If she chastises Maria, Mrs. Joe's just going to go after somebody else, and then you lost Maria. There is no solution available to her that's a good one. Because she can't get to the real cause. The real cause is something you caused. So would you write next to the Mrs. Joe situation the compound cause, where the problem solver cannot get to original cause. The compound cause, where the problem solver cannot get to original cause. Now what could Susan do? There's only two things I know she can do. She can live with the problem, or she can go and sell the problem back to its originator. She really needs to be in Jim's office and say, Jim, you've got a problem you have to solve. And you may tell her you'll have to live with it, or now it's time to buy Mrs. Joe a car or something. You'll have to, but she can't solve the problem, is what I'm trying to show you.
Marriage counseling. She could offer to buy a marriage counseling instead.
or have Mrs. Joe have a frontal lobotomy. There's all kinds of interesting things, but not Susan going to take care of that. Susan looks like she's got the problem. And sometimes when you've got the problem, because you can't get to the cause, you didn't cause it or can't access it, you can't solve it. All she can really do is sell this problem back to her boss.